Does anyone know what month it is? Do you need a hint? Yup, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Because boobs are such an important part of a woman's anatomy and sexuality, we would like to spend a few minutes talking about them and breast cancer. To start off, what is the main purpose of boobs in nature? First and foremost, boobs were created to provide milk for the young. However, they are also a huge part of a woman's sexuality. Although they are not technically part of the female genitalia, they are considered secondary sex characteristics. Here are a few interesting facts about boobs. On average, a boob weighs just over 1 pound. During sexual arousal, breast size increases. Some women are able to orgasm as a result of nothing but breast manipulation and stimulation. According to Women's Health, the nipples get all the attention, but the areas right above the nipples, think 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, are actually the most sensitive part of the breast. Sensation from the nipples travels to the same part of the brain as sensations from the vagina, clitoris, and cervix. And another interesting fact, while the U.S. culture prefers boobs that are youthful and upright, some cultures venerate women with drooping boobs, indicating mothering and wisdom of experience. Now, because it is October, and in honor of the breast cancer awareness movement and the millions who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, we would like to share some things on the topic in order to help inform people and prevent this deadly disease. How did you find out that you had breast cancer?
In December of 2010, I went for a well woman checkup, and the doctor found a breast lump. And it's interesting because it was exactly 1 year to the month from when I had a mammogram. So I was getting regular mammograms, and so it was quite a shock. I went from a fine mammogram to stage 3A within a year.
Stage 3A?
Mm-hmm. Out of 4.
Out of 4, I was about to say, I think it's
right. Well, it certainly has been life-changing. I was kind of a natural woman with trying to be very, very careful about what I ate and exercise and being a vegan and avoiding things that, even hair dye, I'd heard there's a link with breast cancer or aluminum-based deodorant, antiperspirants, and stuff like that. So I'd done all these things that I thought would prevent cancer, so it was really a big shock. But so it hasn't had a lot of impact because I think you come face to face with life and death. It's a very aggressive kind of breast cancer, and for me, it's been something God has really used. You know, God doesn't waste anything, and sometimes we go through some very, very hard things that He wants to use to make us into the people He wants us to be and to bring glory to Him. So He's turned it around for good. You know, I know because of what Christ did for me on the cross that I'm going to heaven, and so it really brings the reality of that life on earth is short. There have been hard challenges, or I don't know if that's one of your questions, but there's certainly some very hard things about it. But
what are the hard things?
I think the uncertainty. Excuse me. Yesterday, a very good family friend has been battling breast cancer, and she passed away yesterday. So it's pretty fresh. You know, it's like this disease is really killing women and men. It's amazing. Men can get breast cancer too, but it's
I just learned that like the other day.
really something.
What treatments have you undergone?
Well, I started off with the natural approach. So I went through fasting, and then I did a couple months of juicing and coffee enemas and all this natural stuff, but I was keeping a close eye on it, and the cancer was growing. So I did everything that I didn't want to end up doing. I had a mastectomy, chemotherapy, 30 rounds of aggressive radiation. I had a port inserted and had a year of IV Herceptin. Mine is HER2 positive. And now I'm on 10 years of a hormone blocker.
10 years?
10 years. It was 5. It's called tamoxifen, and it blocks kind of the pathways with estrogen. And so it's supposed to reduce. Well, they found that it reduces the reoccurrence. Okay. You know, and there's some little, like my hand right here. This is lymphedema. This summer I got bit with one little tiny wasp way up here, one little tiny bite, but it caused my hand to swell up because there's so many things we take for granted, like an intact lymph system. That I had 6 out of the 11 lymph nodes had cancer in them, but once your lymph system is disrupted, little things like a sunburn or a scratch can turn into big things. So.
Okay. And what advice would you give to others diagnosed with it?
I would say run to the Lord. This is my biggest thing, because, man, I don't know how people make it without knowing God, because He's everything to me. But I think take one step at a time. It seems so overwhelming. You almost feel like you've got this big death sentence on you. And but you know, one day at a time, one step at a time. Love life. A big thing that helped me a lot through it was I kept a gratefulness journal. There's a wonderful book called 1,000 Gifts that I highly recommend, really focusing on the beautiful blessings, whether it's a rainbow or something a neighbor bringing over dinner or all those things, and then humor. I started every day finding something on the internet or finding a joke, a cartoon, you know, because in the Bible it says that a merry heart does good like medicine, so laughter is really an important thing. So that was part of my therapy too, is humor.